chief of Dominica Police Force is soliciting the assistance of the general public, more specifically the people residing in the Warner and Bells area, in finding 12-year-old Kernisha Etienne.
Greetings everyone. Today marks the 10th day since the disappearance of Kernisha Etienne. Kernisha is described as a loving girl, a sweet girl, very respectful and kind. She is 12 years old from the village of Warner. Kernisha's start in life was not the fairest one. Fair in the sense that back in 2012, her mom, Stacy Catherine Alexis, also disappeared. And based from an article from the Chronicle, June 22nd, 2012, back page story, her mother, Rosemary Langford, stated that she last had contact with her daughter during April of that year. Now, this is tragic in more ways than one, being that not only is Kernisha missing, but also her mother. To date, no one knows of her whereabouts, no one knows what happened, who she was with, or where she went. And till now, no one is certain if she was ever officially declared dead. Rosemary Langford, the mother of Stacy, who's also the grandmother of Kernisha, shared her thoughts and concerns with local radio personality Curtis Matthew.
In number one that happened to my granddaughter, the lady that I was raising up, she never come and tell me nothing up from today.
Now, many of you are wondering, well, if her mom disappeared, her father is still here, and her grandmother is as well. Why is it that she was taken from the home of Mr. Laura Joseph Bruno, who is a local preacher, a pastor, and his nickname also is preacher, and his wife? So let's listen to how she and her husband came about to offer fosterage to little Kernisha, and also the challenges that she experienced in bearing the responsibility of upbringing for this little girl.
Well, Kernisha was living home, at our home with my sister.
Where's that?
Our stop farm, Bolivar. You understand? But because my sister couldn't be able, she not in good health. You understand? And she couldn't take care of the child because even the child's body was pooing at certain time. So Miska now coming in now, well, she make child with my brother and she had to take in the child when she see the child because me is not Dominica that I stay in.
It's quite unfortunate that she reached out to the local authorities, being our social welfare department, for assistance, and they offered none.
I had two of those children, the same, they're one brother and sister children. Both mothers died. I had two of them, and I think it was hard. I went to your grandmother in Mahu to ask her to take one. She told me she cannot take none. I had both of them. I went to welfare to ask them, tell them about the child. My daughter was there. She came and said, I will call you. I will call you. And they never called me. When I said to them, you have them already, hold them.
It is terrible that the local authorities failed Kernisha in this instance. The local police authorities failed her in another instance where the disappearance of her mother was not further investigated and the family to date has not had closure. Now there's another area of failure where her abductor, Kian Alexander, who police has described as a lunatic, some say he is a devil worshipper and a madman, that the police had an encounter with him previously because from their own statements, he was a menace to the local community and many were fearful of him. So there was a moment in time when they had the opportunity to apprehend him and yet they failed to do so. It is stated that though the police officers were armed with firearms and Kian with a machete or cutlass, because of how he handled himself, they said he's over 6'4", he's well built, menacing look about him, and they were intimidated to the point where, you know, their firearms, their firepower was of no use, and they allowed him to escape, basically, and only later was he able to commit such a terrible criminal act against each child and a family? The parents of the accused kidnapper, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Bruno, the couple who the child lived with, and Mr. Bruno, who is also the uncle of the accused, all agree, or should we say they all say the same thing pretty much, that he took her. They acknowledged that, and they stated that he would not harm her. They seem confident that he will not harm the child, that she is alive, and that she'll be returned soon.
I know for sure in my heart, I know my son, I know I raised him, I know his mother raised him. And I tell you, to be honest, that the boy will not hold the child. He will not hold the child.
You know, parents buy teddy bear for children to comfort them. You always give a gift as a teddy bear as a gift. Why you will take a teddy bear for the child?
There is good reason to be concerned because, one, he is described as a lunatic. Two, he is accused of being a devil worshipper, someone who drinks the blood of animals, really creepy stuff, and also someone who has been terrorizing a community. And everyone who encountered him had different accounts of the experiences, which were not positive. So it seems that he's a very, aggressive, intimidating individual. And having taken the child from a home in such a forceful, frightening manner, then how confident should we be that he is not hurting her? And if that is the case, is there something that we are not aware of? Is there something they know that the rest of us are not privy to? And this is why a thorough investigation needs to be done. We would like to express gratitude to the local businesses who offered support in whichever form, and also to the French government towards the search operation, more specifically in the assistance of a helicopter and a search dog as well, even if it proved to be futile. But we still appreciate the gesture. We are also grateful and we commend the efforts of the civilians who came out, who stepped out of their concern and took the decision upon themselves to hey, let's go ahead full force and conduct a search party for this little girl. International reggae star Nasir Fountain, who has achieved quite a lot in his career, also lives in the village of Warner and is familiar with Kernisha and the people she lives with, her family. And he expressed his concerns and his thoughts about the situation.
That little child, man, my brother, we're too small a community for children to be in problem. And now we hear enough children abused, and we hear enough all kind of situations with the youth them. Well, the two biggest concern is the children and the elderly,
I know.
And so we're too small a community for that, man. Well, right now I have to say the whole of one and all the police them searching and everybody looking forward. But the news everybody want to hear is that
yes.
The news everybody want to hear basically is that they find that little child alive,
There has been much debate, much speculation in the absence of many facts in this situation. And one thing we can all agree on is that some degree of change has to occur. It is obvious that there has not been a plan or strategy in place to handle such situations. So therefore, our local authorities, the welfare department, has to take their responsibilities more seriously to protect the rights of children, and as well as our law enforcement body, our local police, where they need adequate training, equipment, and the resources necessary to really be more efficient and effective in the performance of their duties. The alleged abductor, Kian Alexander, was found. He was shot by local police and eventually succumbed to his injuries. The search is ongoing for little Kernisha Etienne, and we pray for her safe return.